Good day, this 118th day, meaningful moments, 365 days. The meaningful moment came to me today. I was already in line with speaking about something and kind of piggybacking off of yesterday's meaningful moment, which was about this high energy and wanting to do everything. And suddenly I happened to go through my news feed and a Facebook memory popped up. You know them. They pop up and it brings you back to that moment in time. For some of you, you might still have those photo albums where you take them out and you flip through and you have stories, you have life, you have chapters in that life of this book that you've been writing all along. So it came to me in that moment, this little Facebook memory. It was a picture of my son at about, I guess, 8 years old, somewhere right around there. And I remember taking the picture. I remember, the nuances around that. And it made me spontaneously send that picture out to him. Now, for some of you, you may have had the blessing of having this continuum and watching the life of your child unfold. But for some of us, through divorce, through different situations, we don't have that coherency of that successive line of events that happen that, can pull it all together. It might feel a little bit more fragmented because there's little gaps and spaces from physical time that you did not have together. And in those places, different from when you remember something and then you miss it, different from those kinds of thoughts that might creep in are those thoughts and feelings that creep in around that time frame that you didn't get to experience at all. It just was blank. And perhaps there were things that you did. For me, I may have tried to plug it in with my imagination and rewriting those pieces, which were really helpful in many ways. And as things unfolded, it helped to seal some of those gaps. But today was a little different. Today, it was a bit of not the kind of shower that I sometimes get when I see pictures. It's like confetti falling on me and I feel all celebratory, and what a joy it is to remember that. This was different. It was like a little pluck of a heartstring, and I was like, oof, there's a little bit of that wince there and a little bit of that hurts right there, because there's this space, and how did we get from there to here, and seeing him as a young man today, but knowing that there were these gaps and these pieces that were estranged for a bit. And I'm sharing this with you because I think in life there are lots of different relationships like that, be it with exes, friends, people that came in and out of our lives, just different relationships. And now more than ever, in a time when divorce is pretty common, I did grow up in an era where it was uncommon. And, there's all these different elements that come to play with blended families and the separation of time with your children and things like that. So, in this moment, feeling that little bit of wince, ouch, that hurts, there's a space here. I'm feeling the sadness. I don't know what to quite do with this other than it's here, it's real. And then pausing, going into a space. And this space was dark, really dark. and brought myself to that sitting position, just cross-legged, taking those deep breaths, and felt myself in that space, that void. And it's void of time and space because it's just dark. And I wasn't afraid to be there. In fact, I knew I just had to sit in it. Bring that feeling or that sensation of that sadness that I felt, that void, right to that moment and just sit in it. I didn't try to distract. I didn't try to rewrite. I didn't try to do anything. But just be present with that space and that darkness. And be with that feeling. And breathe. And as I did that, and I stayed in that moment, I could feel the shift happening with the feeling energetically. And I, kind of surveyed that field of energy around me and what that was all about. And where this particular moment, that memory was in that field. From this dark place that I sat in. And once I had done that, I was able to actually go to that memory and experience it just as it was and reach out to my son with the experience that I'm sharing with you right now. And knew that in that moment there was a connective piece to the sharing and to that space in the void that was free of time and space that was part of his healing too. And so this is the way that we go through these timelines energetically and connect with one another. So you may have some of those kinds of memories, some of those types of relationships in your life, places that are still needing to be healed. And I'm calling for that like every day, like bring out from the dark, or what is in the dark, to the light. And for me, that is clearly what is in the unconscious to the conscious realm. Let me envelop it in consciousness. Let my being envelop it in consciousness. And that's what this moment was. This meaningful moment of a Facebook memory. Those Facebook memories, they get you in all kinds of different ways. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff because when we are able to do this work in whatever way we find works for us, and I'm just sharing with you one way, we're lifted and, we're strengthened by that healing, by that knowing within ourselves that we have come here to do just that. Be able to live life, learn from it, heal with it, and expand more in our love and our consciousness. In this meaningful moment with you and sharing that sacred space within me, Aho.